All right, guys. Well, yo, what's up? What's going on? We are live, obviously. Welcome. Ready Aim Scale live today. D and RJ, what's going on? Jay, he is having some internet connection problems.
Yeah, I know. Like, I guess this is the fun of living in the country. Sometimes they tell you that you have internet in your area when you really don't have internet in your area. So he's been just trying to figure out who will give him internet. It's been like he's like playing the lottery a little bit.
Yeah. See who can run that extra cable for him. So I think it's interesting, right? And also
Yeah.
too, it sucks, right? It's like, dang, because you don't have internet, you don't have fast internet, you can't do nothing. Weatherly said she's here first. I'm here
Hi,
first.
Weatherly.
What's up? Yeah. So today's topic we're gonna go over Jen. Hey, what's going on? What's up? We're gonna go over today's topic. So today's topic is going to be Etsy, and Dee is going to be doing some live research on her end.
Yes.
The one research is like one of my favorite things to do. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And learning the algorithm. Okay. One of my other favorite things. I think it plays hand in hand, right? Gonti's over here. What's up, Gonti? What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon. So give it a few minutes, let people hop on. If you guys are here,
sure.
If you guys are new, first time here, please give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Any questions, please comment down below. Or wherever you guys are on, Facebook or YouTube. Hello, gorgeous people. What's going on? Hello. Yeah. So we know that people have been asking questions about like printables, right? And we kind of been seeing that. And there's other questions too that people have been asking that we plan on getting into too as well. D's been keeping a real close eye on that, so thank you, D, for that too as well.
Yeah.
There's like, as far as like people want to learn about landing pages for their products, right?
Yeah. So like last week, somebody on one of these lives was asking us about how they would create a landing page if they're doing like KDP and they have an Etsy store and they have maybe merch going on that like showcased all of their products in one spot. And when people clicked on those links, it would take them to the appropriate place to buy whatever it was that they were looking for. And so we are going to address that. But like legit, we did a video about how to make, well, actually I did 3 videos about how to make landing pages using different tools that are available in our monthly challenge this month for marketing. So if you're not in the group, you are missing out because like that $20 a month membership gets you that monthly challenge that we do every single month. And if I see cool things like that pop up in questions just on our lives, I usually will go ahead and do a little video for it in the group. So
yeah,
missing out.
No, also too, yeah, I actually shared the links right there too as well. We have like a free mini course for you guys to get started. We give you guys a breakdown. Like it depends where you want to go, right? If you want to go Etsy, if you want to go Merch by Amazon, if you want to go KDP, sign up for that. I just dropped it right there. It says free mini course. It's basically our goal behind that is to help you make your first sale with whatever platform you're on, right? Merch by Amazon, KDP, or Etsy. And we're going to give you a better understanding. Okay. Because our goal is, I'm going to be honest with you. If we help you make your first sale, you're hooked. That's it. That's your $20 a month right there. And I'm just being honest, right?
Truthfully.
So yeah. And then also too, because we have people that like in the group, right? In the actual Slack group community, they're crushing it and they're sharing the results with each other and they're just talking amongst each other. I know someone left a comment the other day. They're acting like it was a Facebook group, and I know how people act when it's a Facebook group. They want to share nothing. Some person said like, "Hey, this ain't no Facebook group. We're here to help each other." So if you think it's a Facebook group, leave. And I'm like, okay, guys, don't count. Time out. No, time out. No, don't be mean to each other. So that right there is cool because it's just like people know that in that group, we're here to help each other.
Yeah.
So Russell, hello from Oregon, new to the game. What's up? Welcome. That's D. I'm RJ. Welcome. Excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us live. Any questions related to anything? Okay, you're more than welcome to ask us, Russell. So that's a direct shot at you. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Okay, welcome.
You know what's really cool? So I just opened up. I never noticed this before. I'm just going to mention this before we hop into the content here. But I literally just noticed that, like, if somebody who was maybe hard of hearing, or like, I don't know what the right political correct word is to say, had a disability where they couldn't hear, was trying to watch this video right now on Facebook, it's putting captions to the words that we say. How cool is that? Did you know that?
It's been doing. I noticed that they started doing that about like 2 episodes ago.
That's very cool. I never noticed that before, and I think it's awesome because more people can jump online and learn from our content. We got to figure out how to do this on our own videos. So that's just a side note.
My great grandma, right? My great grandma, she was hard of hearing, and she was so cool. Like, she was so cool about it. She was like, I don't know. She would, like, when she didn't have her batteries low, she would yell at me, and I wouldn't know it as a little kid. She's like, "Mijo," all loud. I'm like, I didn't know it to, like, I was like all scared. And my grandma was like, "It's okay, son. It's okay." She just has her hearing aid batteries are low. But yeah, she was an awesome woman. Nicholas, what's up? Teresa, what's going on? So people are hopping on.
Perfect.
Boom, boom. We're looking good, guys. Now, if you guys are barely hopping on, drop a comment, say what's up, what's going on. Hopefully, you guys are having an awesome Thursday day, morning, afternoon, wherever the heck you are. Friday morning, wherever, if you're on across the world, wherever. Welcome. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Ask in the comments. Okay, that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me know when you're ready to hop in.
I'm just responding to Rusu down here. He left a comment. He said, "Hi, do you plan to sell digital product on Etsy or digital?" And I said, we sell physical products, but lots of people sell digital. So, okay, so I'm just gonna hop in. I'm gonna click the button to share my screen here. And what we're gonna start out with today is we're gonna just do some basic printable research, right? So I know a lot of people are kind of in this weird situation where Printful still has really long delays. So if you were using Printful as your POD right now, there's like massively long turnaround times. And I think it's something that a lot of the POD providers are actually experiencing issues with. I know for sure Shirtly, if you're using Shirtly, is still kind of blowing the rest of them out of the water. But for those of you guys who like sell mugs and pillows and stuff like that, that Shirtly doesn't offer, obviously I'm seeing a lot of people pivot into just trying to do digital downloads, which is a great strategy, right? Because obviously if you can't be delivering these physical products right now because you're relying on a POD who's slow or backed up, it makes sense that you still try to make some money doing something else. So because of that, we're just going to hop in and we're going to do some coloring page research on Etsy, digital download type deals on Etsy, just to see what's going on over there. And I'm going to show you how, if I was going to enter into this kind of a strategy, what I would be looking for and what I would be looking at. Now, before I even share my screen, I want to make perfectly clear, anything you see here, do not copy, okay? Like, for real, lots of these people on Etsy, they spend a lot of time creating their artwork, creating their brands. You know, like, this isn't something that just takes 5 minutes and all of a sudden they're making tons of money, right? So if you don't want somebody to copy you eventually, just do the right thing and don't copy these people. The reason I'm sharing this information is so that you guys can learn and you can strategize and you can innovate. You can see the ideas that are out there, see the niches that are, you know, crushing it, come in with your own ideas, put your flip on it and start to make some money that way. Okay. So yeah, big thing. Don't copy. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen right now and we're going to hop right in. So also, I know sometimes for some reason, when I do the share screen, it doesn't always follow me around. So if you notice that I'm talking about something that you can't see on the screen, just comment to let me know that you can't see it and I'll stop the share and reshare it. Okay. So let's go.
Okay.
I got the shared screen in there. Okay, so here we are.
Up to the side right there. Okay.
Yeah, so here we are right away on the Etsy homepage, right? So for anybody who's brand new and like doesn't quite understand Etsy, traditionally, if you've been searching for things on Etsy, like I often do for these videos, anything that I've kind of been searching for would just start popping up in my recently viewed listings, right? But if you're brand new, you've never even been on Etsy, you've never searched for anything over there, it's basically going to pop this up with things generic things that it thinks like everybody might be looking for right now. So on this page, right at the top here, you have this search bar, right? And so basically what will happen, you see this, it says popular right now. It shows you all of the little things that people are searching for right this very minute, okay? In our case, we're looking for printables, right? So these are artwork pieces that people can download or coloring pages. So I'm gonna just show you when I do, well, actually, I'm going to spell it like Americans spell it. Okay.
That's supposed to mean, huh? Just kidding.
But when I do a generic search like coloring pages download, I'm going to see a whole bunch of things pop up here, right? And naturally, every person who creates these coloring pages, they have a different strategy that they're using to get people to click through onto their listings. So again, if you're brand new to this whole scenario, when you're doing this kind of research, there's a couple of key things that you want to look at. A is price points across these particular designs, right? And then B is kind of, you're looking for like the shops that have the good reviews or lots of sales. So like if you see right from this homepage, this shop here has 1,200 reviews. So you know that this shop, like if I click into it, there's a good chance if they're printables only or downloadables only, there's going to be a lot of good information for me to learn from by clicking and looking at this shop. They've also got the bestseller badge. So we know that that shop sells a lot of printables or sells a lot of art. Okay. So if we continue to scroll down, you're seeing there are some very specific similarities across listings from different shops, right? So a lot of them are just kind of showing the coloring pages or showing like a book cover or whatever. If you're only selling downloadable pages, my suggestion to you is not to do something like this, where it looks like a book, okay? Because then people get confused and they're gonna think that when they click this and they buy this thing for $4.31, you're gonna send them a book. Okay, so when you're doing your mock-ups to showcase what you offer, you want to make it something more like this over here, which is just one page, because that kind of tells them, oh yeah, it's downloadable. I'm going to print this at home. Okay, so that's one of the key tips. But as we continue to scroll down here, we're seeing like there's different ways to kind of get to the same end result. Some people are showing markers and, pencils. Some people are showing their artwork fully colored in, right? So any of these strategies will probably work for you if this is something that you're going to try and enter. Now, naturally, there's going to be a lot of competition here. So we're going to try and click on a few things here in a minute, and we're going to niche down and just figure out, okay, so what would be the best area for me to start in if I was brand new to this? But right now, I'm going to tell you right here, don't do this, okay? Because Disney does come out, okay, from time to time and start issuing takedowns, and it will be a ding against your shop. I see a lot of sellers do this kind of stuff, and it's never use something that's trademarked or copywritten or whatever in trying to sell your pages, right? So first things first, I'm just going to hop into one that I think is interesting. Like I like this one right here, right? So the store is called The Party Patisserie. You've got $5.79 free delivery, which it should be because it's a downloadable, right? Or a printable. And it looks like it's a little activity thing. So they're saying like maybe in the morning while your kids are eating their breakfast or something like that, they can do this coloring thing to keep them busy, right? So a couple things that you want to pay attention to on Etsy. The most important things, I think, in terms of how you get found in search are pretty photos. And then this area here, this is called your product title, right? And then if I scroll down to the very bottom down here, right here are the product tags, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that you've done some keyword research. You're looking for keywords that will get people to the exact product that they're looking for. And you want to repeat a lot of the keywords that you use in your title in the tags here at the bottom. Also, it's important to note that on Etsy, you want to put your most important keywords right at the front of your product, okay? So this is pancakes and pajamas coloring placemat. That's the most important thing. So when somebody's going to search for this specific placemat, that's probably going to be something that they type in: pancakes, coloring placemat, or coloring placemat in general, right? So all 4 of those keywords, like pancakes, pajamas, coloring placemat, will be used to bring up this page when somebody goes ahead and searches for this. So if we're looking at this, we're going to see, there's it says Canadian $5.79 plus. There's a turnaround time. This is interesting because it doesn't actually look like it might be printable. They have puzzle difficulty. They have some different options here, but it says materials download. So I don't know why they've got this turnaround time there, because it should be a pretty instant download. So then basically in their description here, they've got things like spend 40, get 30% off, which is also super important. If you're running any promotions, you want to put that right at the top of your description so that people don't have to click show more in order to see what promotions they might get from your store. And then over here, we're seeing a bunch of these reviews, right? So if I just click through to this store to see what else they do, I'm going to see their whole shop on Etsy.
That's the moneymaker, right?
Right. So they got this beautiful banner at the top here, right? And it's create a pastry package deal, spend $40, get 30% off, spend 30, get 20, spend 20, get 10, right? And that's the same information that's in their listings as well, just in case somebody finds this difficult to read or just kind of misses it while they're on the top of this shop, right? So then their announcement says, selling downloadable digital files of customizable invitations, wallet and party accessories, birthday invitations, party invitations, signs, banners, all this other stuff. Sorry. I have to decline somebody's call because I'm busy over here, right? So here we are, just kind of looking at their announcement. It basically showcases everything that they're going to do in the shop. And then we're seeing the different kinds of products that they sell here. So this is a really interesting niche. Like I would not have expected necessarily to see this when I typed in coloring pages. If I was going to do coloring pages, it would be interesting for me to see, because I wouldn't have thought, like when I think of coloring pages, I think of, something that somebody's going to buy and download and give to their child to color in, or maybe buy and download and color in themselves for like stress relief or something like that. Right. So this is a whole different spin on coloring stuff, because like maybe she's selling some of these invitations without the colors on them, and then like kids are coloring them in, stuff like that, party items, right? Like to give at birthday parties and things like that for kids to do, like little activities. But you're seeing there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Because this isn't really what I was expecting to see, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to look back at the other coloring pages. Mm-hmm. So if I go,
and just to kind of give people like an insight, what do you think like right now, like what are people are downloading these coloring pages from home, especially like when there was like more of the quarantine going on, right?
Absolutely.
Like what were they were just bored and they printed them from home because they didn't want to go out anywhere. They had their printer and they're printing them from home and color them in, or
I think that's a lot of what it is, or like they're trying to keep their children, if they have children, busy, right? Because like if you're still employed and you're working from home, but now you're also in charge of childcare from home while you're trying to work your regular like 8-hour business day, that's a challenge in and of itself, especially if your kids are little. Right. So because like, a 5-year-old kid might not necessarily understand like mommy's working or daddy's working at the computer. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think in a sense, there were people that were downloading like activity book pages that were going to keep their kids busy for a little while, coloring book pages, things like that, so that they could get some work in while their kid's doing a fun activity. And then, it's kind of like a win-win situation for everyone. Yeah. Other people I know for sure, like the single people, so it's a completely different market, right? The single people who, let's say, were, quarantining, I can't even say that word. We're in quarantine solo, right? Yeah. Naturally, those people were going to be super, super bored, right? Like if you're stuck in a house by yourself, you can't see nobody, you can't go visit your friends or whatever. Those people, might be hopping on Zoom calls or whatever, but you've got a lot of your day to fill just either binge watching Netflix or like TV and eating, or like finding some activities for you to do around your house that is just going to kind of keep you a little bit stimulated, right? Yeah. So I know some people like that are like downloading these like paisley floral things, coloring them in. I know a lot of people were doing puzzles and stuff like that, right? Or like little activity books for themselves just to keep themselves, you know, essentially sane during this time. So, you know, there's a good market for this in general. Like I know that the pandemic obviously made the market explode a little bit more than it had been previously. But in general, I think even going forward, I know that lots of places are opening and social distancing is kind of lifting a little bit. But if we do get another wave of COVID and it goes kind of back to the isolation, you know, it's a good idea to be putting some of these foundational pieces by like starting a shop that offers these downloads in place right now so that you can kind of hit that next wave of activity that's probably likely to come, right? So we're kind of just scrolling down and I just want to pick a different one. So let's just go into this one because it looks like it is going to be just specifically coloring. Okay, so this one is uplifting quotes coloring, adult coloring, coloring in, coloring pages, digital download. This is what they've got in their title, right? So then we're seeing here that there's definitely some inspirational stuff happening here, right? They've got the pages so that it definitely, like you would probably know that when you bought this listing, you're just going to get a page. You're not getting a book or a physical product sent to you. They say right here, right at the top, that it's a digital download. And you see the little icon that says it's a digital download to kind of make sure that nobody gets confused. And the description says you get both of these uplifting quotes for $2.11, right? So these are the kinds of things that you want to be paying attention to. Now, this one's for adults, right? Which is also a great strategy. So in this case, if I just click on the sales numbers, it's going to show me a lot of the time what's been selling in this shop, right? So
some bugs in there.
Yeah, so there's some different kinds of bugs. They have it's called, like she calls it, a decorated beetle coloring, right? But it looks like, you know, where this is for adults and their skill level is going to be higher when essentially coloring some of these things in. There's a lot more details for them to focus on and color in, right? You wouldn't necessarily want to give this page to a 5-year-old because all of these little details might be a little overwhelming for like a 5 or a 6 or even a 7-year-old to try and color in, right? So you can tell that this is specifically for adults and they spend a lot of time kind of creating these files to make them beautiful, right? Yeah. And you're seeing here in even the reviews that people really like them, right?
Yeah. So I think also too, just to add something in there, like when some people were just showing up, like a digital download is basically you add it to the cart and you download it and then you get it instantly. It says it on the listing, you get the actual, what is it? The JPEG or the
so they usually download it. Yeah, exactly. They usually download it in a zip file, right? Okay. So on Etsy, those downloads come in a little zip file, but it's usually like a JPEG or a PDF or something like that they can just send to their printer and print at home and then color in how they see fit. So one cool thing about this shop, so like when I just clicked on the shop to see what else they offer, their banner is very exclusive to their shop. Like this is probably a piece of their artwork. Their logos right here with like some nice little doodles, right? And then there's another piece of their artwork and all of these coloring pens and different accessories. So that kind of tells you that this person is part of this niche because clearly like you wouldn't have all of these pens and accessories if you weren't into coloring books. Yeah. And then as we kind of scroll down, we're seeing there's an actual book. And then there's all these different kinds of designs that are very intrinsic. They're very detailed and would take, I would argue would take probably, you know, a couple hours to really color in, right? So it's a good activity that's you're going to spend some time completing and create your own, I guess, colored in drawing, right? So if you're looking to start kind of something for adults, this is a good shop to kind of look at and just kind of see the kinds of artwork that adults are buying. You want to see essentially, you know, what people like and what people dislike about this kind of artwork or whatnot. And also, I'm going to just point out that she's got a couple different categories here so that it's easy for shoppers who do click through to her shop to find different types of things. I would argue that she might do better if she had like animals in one, beetles in one, just mandala pages in one, books in one or whatever. But I mean, she's only got 76 listings, so it's not going to be pages upon pages of scrolling if somebody does click on one of these other sections. So it kind of works for that. So I'm just going to go back into the original we did.
I think also too, just when you guys are doing these searches, right? It's telling you a story, right? You can see right here, this is telling you a story. What he's looking at. You want to take all this in. You want to take notes. You want to take a mental picture, right? That's the goal. Like you want to figure out what is going on. Like what is Etsy showing you? Like what's selling the best in here? Like, you know what I mean? Take notes of that. If you see that, if you click on 10 listings, right, and you see some of them have the add to cart, right? There's five of these items are added to cart. You want to take notes of that, like what images, like who's the target audience. You want to pay attention to all that stuff because it's
and just even design aesthetic and style too, right? Mm-hmm. Like because those things will definitely dictate whether somebody clicks on your listing versus somebody else's. Like if they see something that's not really, it doesn't really look like a nicely drawn coloring page or something like that, there's a good chance they're just going to scroll on by, or like a coloring page kind of like this one that you can't really see. Like this one's selling okay, I think, because they're doing the customization right here for the kids' names and stuff, but you can't really tell too much about this coloring page. You would have to click through onto the listings versus the one that's directly beside it where you can see exactly what you're going to get before you even have to click. So things like that are things to keep in mind when you're doing this kind of research, right? So in this case, I've gone ahead and I've just gone on coloring pages for kids, right? And if we are scrolling down through these listings, we're seeing, lots of unicorns. We've got some dinosaurs and animals. We've got more animals. They've got, I wouldn't do that, but they've got some like superheroes in that one. They've got some nice sayings, love never fails, listen and obey, like all of these other things, right? And so I would probably, like if I was planning on doing like animal coloring pages or something like that, I would probably just click on one of these. Actually, I'll click on one of these over here just because it's got more information, right? So this is an Easter one that got put up with the bunnies or whatever. And I just start paying attention to, what their price point was. So here, the price point is $5.80 and you get 6 different coloring pages. Of course, it shows up, it's an instant download. What are they using for their title? I would scroll down and see what they're using for their tags. I would also click through into the shop to see what the shop looks like, what other items they might be able to sell. So here we're just seeing, more coloring pages, right? But we're also seeing that they do like stickers and cupcake toppers and all this other stuff. So out of their full 1,200 listings, there's only 41 coloring pages. And this is a key point that I want to mention about Etsy. They were showing up on the first page of the search results in Etsy. So that means that their coloring pages were doing well in terms of sales, right? So if your idea is to kind of have an Etsy shop that is more of a general niche shop like this, you just want to break this stuff out so that if somebody does just want coloring pages, it's really easy for them to click and get through to that. But just know that like if you do a good job of your product offerings in all of these other categories, you could be showing up on the first page for those as well, right? Yeah. So if we're just kind of looking through at the shop, we're seeing we've got bookmarks in here. We've got very specific like Fiesta coloring pages, unicorn coloring pages, sports coloring pages, dinosaur bookmarks. There's like a whole bunch of different things that people could download and color, like monsters, a little card. That's super cute because most people are still in isolation, right? So Father's Day gift or whatever. There's a whole bunch of different things. And each one of these designs look like it's been professionally done. Like it's not just like some ugly stick figure, type of design that you're like, please pay me $5 to download this in color, right? Like they've spent some time really working out the design aesthetics, putting in the words, putting up good mock-ups, that sort of thing, to make it enticing for buyers to want to click on them, right? Yep. So these are all of the things that you want to be paying attention to when you're trying to come into a niche when you're brand new.
Do you notice that, like, when I'm looking at the thumbnail, I can see, like, the thicker black lines, right? Mm-hmm. On the outline of the drawing. That's a very eye-catching thing, too, as well. So it looks like that makes people want to click more. So the outline of the drawing. So for example, like Great Dads, the robot, like the eyes and then like the square of the robot's head, the drawing, the line is a little bit more bold, more thicker. So it kind of like invites you over to come click on it. So think about that too as well. We also we have a few questions in here. We'll get into those right in a bit, right after this.
Yeah. So that's it. So like when you're doing this kind of research, I'm just going to go back a couple times now so that we get back to the original page. Oh, I think it's actually still open over here. Just coloring pages or whatever. When you're doing this type of research, you also want to be asking yourself what is missing, right? Mm-hmm. So the better strategy in life, honestly, which I say like the easiest strategy to start making sales is not to come into this particular niche of coloring pages for kids and start just putting out coloring pages that are the exact same as what's already here, right? Like a lot of people make that mistake when they're new. They're like, oh, well, I'll just put my own unicorn coloring page up, or I'll put my own dinosaur coloring page up. And while, you know, I get it, like it's tempting to do, what you want to be looking at is for like little gaps in the marketplace that are not being covered. So like maybe there's a story element that you can add into like a dinosaur coloring page, and you're going to put 6 pages up or something like that, and it all tells a story. You know what I mean? Like I'm not seeing any pages like that. So they color it in, they read a story, you know, like you want to just bring something a little bit different to innovate so that there's a compelling reason for somebody to buy your thing over what's already selling well in the marketplace, right? That's how you compete intelligently, as opposed to just coming in and flooding the marketplace with, you know, a bunch of different options for a niche that's already pretty heavily saturated, right? So when we're even looking here, we're like seeing the toothbrush ones, we're seeing like, you know, some just random images, like doodle pages, like we've got a bunch of like cupcakes and I don't know, ice creams and stuff, you know what I mean? So you want to be paying attention to what's here and weighing that against what's not here. Like what might parents want their kids to be coloring that just isn't appearing here? One thing I'm not really seeing is a whole bunch of like inspirational quote coloring pages, or, you know, animal coloring pages that are like dogs. Like I've seen a couple of those, but not a huge amount. And so if you've got dog lovers, like parents that are dog lovers, and you made a whole book of coloring pages that were fun dogs like this one, I'm sure that would probably sell pretty well, right? When you're looking at like events, Easter, holiday, Father's Day, like all those kinds of things that are coming up, I'm not seeing a bunch of those types of images right now on the front pages, right? So I'd start researching to see, okay, like are there like fun Father's Day things? Like there's one here that's on page 2, but even that, like it doesn't, I'm not gonna, like, just my personal preference, that doesn't scream dad to me. You know what I mean? It screams like there's like an owl on there, and I don't know, like is that a bunny or a squirrel with a mustache? Like it doesn't really, you know what I mean? It doesn't really scream like Father's Day stuff. But like if you could make one that was a bit cutesier, like maybe a big monster and a little monster, you know what I mean? Something that is going to be like an emotional attachment to the person who sees it on a screen, that would probably sell right now really well, because again, people aren't really doing the same things or the same activities that they would normally be doing right now due to COVID-19, right? So maybe they're going to buy this coloring thing and it's going to be heartwarming because their kids drew this and it was like a little present for their dad kind of thing, right? So basically we're seeing Bible verse coloring pages. That's probably another big one, because people, I know most people aren't able to head physically to churches. So like, I know some congregations are doing like Zoom church visits and stuff like that, but these coloring pages that might be in like a kid's Sunday school, they're not really getting those right now, right? So you could potentially make some money with those Bible verse pages. Holidays, just, you know, any holidays, like a whole celebration of the holidays book, you know, I'm not saying anything like that. So you just want to be asking yourself when you're doing this research, not just what's selling well, but what's selling well and what is missing, so that you can kind of start to put those two items together. So we've seen a lot of unicorn coloring pages. We've seen a lot of like baked goods. We've seen a lot of animals. So animals, and then another category that's kind of missing. So maybe it's like the celebration of animals, or maybe it's like, you know, Johnny's puppy's adventure into, I don't know, like the park or something, right? And it's 6 different coloring pages that follow that theme. You want to just make it something that's different, that's innovative. And you want to just kind of package it up in a way that it makes sense for people to click on it. Something that's clear and easy for them to understand what they're getting. That when they click through, like on this one, it said like PDF, JPEG, or whatever, right? So PDF, JPEG, and PNG, right? So right from the listing on Etsy, you can tell you're going to get like these specific formats, just in case your printer won't print JPEGs or whatever, you'll have it in PDF, or you know what I mean? And it makes it a little bit more compelling for you to click on something like that versus clicking on something that looks too busy, or, you know, it's not quite clear what you're going to get, or it looks like a book when really it's a digital download, that sort of stuff. I talked too much.
No, you're good. You're good. No, it's solid. No, because I think also too, is just your goal is, so when the customer is searching for the product, right? So when the customer is searching for the product, coloring pages for kids, right? When they search for that product, okay, you want them to think like when they're scrolling down, you want the customer to stop and click. Okay, so that's your goal. You have the search phrase down, you have the keywords down, you have them down solid. But your next goal is to make them click. And then your next goal is to make them add to cart and make them purchase. Okay, so that it's the process. You have them working down like the little funnel, right? They search for the product. You give it to them. They click. Now your branding and everything else plays a big role in this. Okay, I think that's very important. A lot of people don't think about that. Okay, you want to think of how the customers are searching for a product. Okay, what made them click? Okay, what made them purchase? Right, and then next thing you know, it you rinse and repeat that. You're going to have consistent sales coming over and over and over. And then if you did your branding correctly on your shop, right, they're going to come back and buy some more. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, that's very important, because that's how you keep a long-term customer. And that's big right there. Just making them happy, making them feel comfortable, reaching out to them, making sure everything's okay, stuff like that. It makes a big difference. Okay. Making them coming back again to purchase again. So something to think about.
Absolutely. So I'm going to stop the share now, and then I guess we can hop into some of these questions that we've got.
Yep, we got some for you, D. Okay, so what up? So Kristen, she said, did you guys see the videos in the listing feature on Etsy now? Just added my first video, shows up as a second image on the listing. Yeah,
it's very cool. It's very cool. So that's the thing. It's like Etsy's constantly changing things to make it a more interesting experience for their shoppers. So in Kristen's case, you know, she actually like got her video. She saw that was available. She got it up real quick. And now she's going to be ahead of the pack for all those people who aren't even, you know, going into their listings and updating and that kind of stuff. So now that people can kind of see a little promo video of like how they're going to use whatever it is that you're trying to get them to buy. Right. So I think it's really cool. It's a cool concept. And I think, you know, we'll see like most of the people who are on Etsy right now, like they're creative types of people, right? Like Etsy started out as a marketplace for kind of like indie makers of things, right? So like we had indie jewelry makers, indie product makers, like people who are sewing cool things, finding vintage things and reselling them, that sort of thing. So the old throwbacks kind of still exist in the consumerism on Etsy. Like people want something different. They want something unique. And if you can showcase your own creativity in a video like that you're putting on one of your listings, that's going to help you create an emotional attachment, because people don't buy products, they buy feelings or results, right? Like that's the truth of life, you know. And I myself, like before I got into e-commerce, had a really hard time understanding that. I was like, what do you mean they don't buy products? Like, you know, I'm gonna show you, like, I'm obsessed with these mugs, right? Like these little Rae Dunn mugs or whatever. And it's like, why do I like these mugs? It's not just because it's an oversized mug. I see you, RJ.
That's your fault, by the way.
I know. See, it spreads infectious.
I know.
That's the thing. But it's not just because it's an oversized mug. I could go buy any oversized mug from anywhere, period. It's like this interesting way of it being written. It's the fact that they're a little misshapen and odd. It's the fact that each mug says something different. Like these are the kinds of things that grab me emotionally. And it's the fact that like literally people who collect these, every collection is going to be different, right? Like the things that they resonate with is going to be the mugs that they buy. But like for me, I just kind of really like this weird writing. I think it's kind of neat looking. It's a really big mug, and I buy it because I have like some emotional connection to it. I'm like, oh, when I get up in the morning, I can pick a mug that's going to be like how I'm feeling that day. And if I have like more coffees in the day, you know, and my day kind of does like one of these, you know, every mug that I drink from can just kind of help me express myself a little bit. And that's the thing. So what I'm buying is really self-expression. I'm not buying a mug necessarily. I'm buying the ability to express myself to others in my household based on the mug that I've chosen to drink it for that day, right? So it's one of those things. Do we have another question?
Here's Patty right here. So D, are people downloading coloring pages or coloring books more often? Is there a way to know where we should focus?
Honestly, I can't tell you for sure. Like, I don't presently sell downloadables, right? So I don't want to lie to you and be like, oh yeah, you should go one way or the other. But the answer I can give you, Patty, is to say, truthfully, you can research this and you'll see, you know, in the results, like when you type in coloring books versus coloring pages, you're going to see who has more sales. I would argue that the pages probably have a lot more sales. This is just a thought that I have. I think the pages would probably have a lot more sales over the books on Etsy, just because they'd be a little bit cheaper. And usually the cheaper something is, the more it sells. But naturally, you know, your margins are a little bit different in terms of like what you're going to get. That said, I would encourage you to do the research. And if I'm wrong, come back and tell me. You know what I mean?
You know what? I think it's just, D, like we talked about this a little bit. I think it's more about adding that part to your business, right? Over time, right? You want to offer digital downloads, and then you want to also offer a physical book, right? I think that's something like over time, like right now you can test both of them. Test one, go with one. As soon as you start making a certain profit margin every single month consistently, then you know what? Create your first coloring book using the pages that you have, right?
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And I think that's really cool because you're like in a way you're branding out. You're making a name for yourself in a way. Now you're offering a physical coloring book. Check this out. You got the customer ready. Check this product out now, and they're gonna buy that. And the next thing you know, you're gonna be crushing it, selling a book on Amazon or wherever your physical website or wherever you're promoting your book. So
absolutely.
Okay, Teresa. And starting a download printables Etsy shop, I'm having problems on niching down to start a store. Interesting.
So tell us what the problems are in niching down. Like you just don't know what sub niches to start with first, or like you're not finding that there's sub niches in your larger niche category. Like what's the problem? Tell us, girl. We'll help you out.
Let me see if she answers that real fast, and then we'll go on to the next, because the next one is her question too as well.
Okay.
I think that might be it right there too. Okay. What's IKR?
So I know, right?
oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay. So where's the demand, and can I have enough listings for a store for that niche? I want to be different and niche down, but is the demand there for things to sell? Should I go more broad, kids, adults, both?
Okay, so let's say, like, I don't know, if we're going to pick a niche, right? So like just as an example, we're going to say the niche is camping books, for camping coloring pages for kids when they're out on camping trips to keep them busy when they're not fishing or whatever else, right? Okay, so let's say we're going to do that. Right? Like there's different kinds of camping that people like to do. There's trailer camping, or like pages for their kids to do at trailer parks. There's, you know, like I'm going to go tent camping. I'm going to go glamping. I'm going to do all those things. Step one is to research those kinds of keyword combinations on Etsy to see what's in the marketplace currently, and to do some research, maybe using eRank or any really other searching platform to see like if people are searching for things like that. Okay. Now, if you're part of that niche and you're already part of groups and you see people in those groups that have kids that might be wanting to do some activities like this, the best thing to do is maybe like ask those people in the group, like, would you buy a glamping coloring page book or like a trailer park specific book for your kid? Right. And if the answer is no, obviously, you know, there's not going to be a lot of demand, but like in those groups, they're going to tell you, it would be really cool if you did X, or it would be really cool if there was a book that was, or a page that was Y, right? you're going to get some ideas from that are going to help you to be able to kind of niche down in a way that's effective, because people are already saying they want those pages, right? So naturally you create a page like that, boom, you put it in the group, all of a sudden you're getting sales on that page that you just created. That's for that particular sub niche, right? Mm-hmm. So there's always going to be the ability to kind of niche down depending on what your niche is. It's just, you want to do that intelligently, right? Like, you don't want to be spending all your time creating things that you don't know if they're going to sell at all. You want to do some research in the front half to determine, like, what is the search volume on these particular words when stacked together. I'm going to ask in groups to find out if there's interest. I might even go look on Pinterest and see if there's anything on there that's for that specific subcategory that I'm looking for, right? And then once I have that information, it will allow you to make a better decision going forward about where to spend your time, where to niche down first. And then you might even find that you get some offshoots off of that first area that you've niched down that you weren't even thinking about before, because customers are asking, oh, well, do you do a page like this? Or could you do a page like this, right? So these are all things to think about when you're trying to kind of figure out what to focus on first and how to niche down.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty interesting, because you want to leverage every single other platform, right, to make sure there's a demand. And I think that's really smart, because if you do that, then you're like, okay, cool. It's like reassuring you, like, okay, now you have some like foundation. There's a demand here, there's a demand here, and there's a demand here. Let's go into it and check it out. And then also too, like you said, D, I think that one of the coolest things is like when people message you, hey, can you make this for me? Or can you, what about this? Do you have this? You're like, oh, I actually thought about making that last week, but I didn't. But now I'm going to make it because I know that the customer actually wants this. I'll make it for you and I'll have it ready for you in 3 days. Do you want it? Boom. First sale. Okay. Where do we leave off? Right. What was it again? Okay, we're getting more questions and it's scrolling everything up. John, what's your view on targeting evergreen niches and how would you start on it? John, that's a really solid question. I think so. Evergreen niche, guys, if you guys are unaware, it's pretty much like a niche that sells all year round. Doesn't matter.
So like birthdays, for an example, like birthdays would sell all year round. What else would sell all year round? What's another good evergreen niche?
Fishing.
Yeah, well, fishing, yeah, because you can do ice fishing and stuff like that. It's not just a seasonal thing. Cars,
birthday, like you said, birthdays,
anniversaries, because they happen all year round, right?
Grandpas.
Oh yeah.
So you're getting more into like family stuff, right? Mom, dad, son, like that's kind of more, right?
Yeah, like birthdays, like, and that's the thing, like, so evergreen niches are basically things that will just literally, like, there's no seasonality to them, right? Mm-hmm. So like, it's not like a point in time. So it's not necessarily like Mother's Day or St. Patrick's Day or a holiday like that. It's just something that, like, there's how many people. So everybody has a birthday. People celebrate their birthdays differently. Married people all have anniversaries, they celebrate those differently. Like even careers, like career anniversaries, right? Like that's a big thing. Right? Like that's a big thing. And like people buy gifts for people who have been at like their career for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, that sort of thing. So all of those are evergreen niches. So obviously it's smart to target them.
So like, I think like, honestly too, I think about it now, like you sit back, right? You're at the computer, then you search a niche, right? And you see there's over 1 million competitors. Oh shit. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, damn, like how am I supposed to make an impact in this and be seen by a customer to buy my damn product? Right. And that's like kind of like one of the most biggest, people get very discouraged on that, right? When they try to do that and then they can't make their first sale. And I see a lot of people doing this, like they'll do it and then like, it doesn't make a sale. No, that's wrong. You see it as a challenge, right? You want to challenge yourself. Okay, how can you rank in this niche? So there's phrases, right? So mom phrase. Let's say example. Let's do birthday. Let's do birthday.
Yeah.
There's birthday phrases. There's a certain birthday at a certain age, right? People are turning 40, turning 30, turning 3, turning 4, turning 5, right? And then there is phrases for those niches by the birthday age. So now there is a certain phrase. It's my birthday. I turned 3. Hooray. And that's the saying. You know what I mean? You got to figure out the saying. And that's one of the ways that I like to do and kind of just dive in. But then also too, there's trending phrases in that niche that, right? So it goes even further down the rabbit hole. So there is trending phrases for that niche that are going off right now. And if you catch that and you see that, that's one way to make it sell. right? The next thing you know, it's evergreen, because there's funny sayings I'm pretty sure you use every single day, D, that that are consistently selling phrases on the internet, all right, on shirts, on product, whatever you, on products, stickers.
Yeah.
Stickers are the most, they're the mean ones, right? They say some very vicious things.
Well, and even I find like some people's mugs say like vicious things. I'm like, savage, damn. You know what I mean?
That's why you like them. No. Okay, so let's get to the next question. Teresa, what's your opinion on a general printable store that services different niches and an adult, kids demographic, or just a niche specific store?
I think the thing with coloring pages is it's a really easy and general store idea. And the reason I think that is that naturally you're going to catch people that are into multiple different niches. So I always say with general stores, like you don't just want to throw up every single design you have in your head into a general store and hope that it sells. I mean, naturally that might do okay on Etsy to some extent, as long as your keywords are good. But in terms of like the full shopping experience, the idea is to kind of be learning how to create a brand so that you can then take your brand off Etsy eventually in order to like really start serving those customers exclusively, right? Mm-hmm. So in terms of like a general store, I would want a general store that did complementary things. So for instance, like if your target audience is moms, like sweary moms, right? Like you might have coloring pages that are for adults only that have some cuss words on them, right? And then you might have, you know, like kitty coloring pages that are a little bit edgy, because most sweary moms are not super, super mainstream, right? Like they're not like the moms that are comfortable being like, I'm a sweary mom, are usually like also the moms who have like bright red hair or pink hair. And you know what I mean? Like that's one of the categories, right? So if I'm going to target a whole store around that specific customer type, I'm going to make sure that like my branding's on point for that customer type. I'm going to have a variety of different items in there, maybe coloring pages, maybe also shirts, maybe also mugs. It's a general store, but it's not necessarily a general printable store. If I'm going to do a general printable store for that specific audience, again, I'm going to spend some time researching what else moms like that are into. Like, do they drink a lot? Am I going to make wine designs, right? Like, or whatever. Like, you know, I'm going to spend some time then creating the printables that they can't get everywhere else and putting those kinds of different subject areas. So like maybe they're also into tattoos. Maybe they're into like mermaid vibes. Maybe they're into, you know, punk rock. You know, like I'm going to make sure that my printables have printables in each of those categories that they're into that are technically their own sub niches, right? Because not everybody that's into punk rock is also a sweary mom, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my advice on doing a general printable store. If you're doing, you know, if you're trying to figure out between adult and kids or like a niche specific store, it's the same kind of first steps, right? Like you're going to go do some research, figure it out, okay, is there enough demand for this niche for it to command my time and attention for me to start putting up listings in this one specific niche or not? And then, you know, who is most likely to be engaged by the things that I want to do? Is it going to be adults or is it going to be kids, right? So you let the research kind of dictate where it's most natural for you to start.
Yeah. Also, too, some little tip too. It's a little bit more harder to create an adult coloring page compared to a kid's coloring page. Kids coloring pages are a little bit more of shapes, right? Now, adult, it's like as you guys can see, D showed you on the screen. It's like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. So it takes a little bit more time. That's a little tip for you, Teresa. So something to think about. I recommend like starting off, easing your way into it. Understand completely what's going on, right? Understand it, because we want you to win, right? We like you, Teresa. We do. So we want you to win. Everyone else, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Teresa. But we want you to win, and that's important to us. So like understand that right there too as well. So remember, it's a little bit more difficult to create a adult coloring page compared to a kid's coloring page. We might have about a few more minutes left, guys. And then we're gonna go ahead and call it right there. So we're gonna knock out all these questions really fast. Okay, you ready, D? Let's knock these out.
All right. Rapid fire.
Okay, for the start of research, would you use Etsy Rank to find the top long tail keywords that are ranking and search those in the Etsy search bar?
Probably I would. Like, I don't know. It all kind of depends on my mood for the day. Sometimes I just use the Etsy search bar, especially if I'm planning on putting things on my Etsy shop. Other times I use Etsy rank. It just kind of depends on what it is exactly that you're trying to do. So you're looking for the top long tail keywords. I would use a tool for that if I was looking for the ones that had the most juju, and then I would search them to see what comes up, to see where I can be different from the existing products in the marketplace. But like, I think even in Etsy rank, sometimes when you search those, it pulls up example listings for you. So you don't necessarily have to do that second step of actually dumping those same keywords into the Etsy search bar, because Etsy rank does it for you and brings those listings up, like the most selling listings.
Hmm. All right, Patty, wait, what? We can add videos to Etsy. Wow, I missed this. Does it help with ranking or just encourage to buy? Wow.
I would honestly say probably like, I don't know. Etsy doesn't really tell you that kind of stuff. They don't tell you necessarily what's going to help with your ranking, but I'll tell you this. They do all of their own research, and they know that their customers really like certain things and really dislike certain things. And they make edits to the algorithm to service more of what their customers like and more of what's going to make them buy. Because at the end of the day, Etsy makes all of its money off of the shops, right? Yeah. So I would say that it probably does help with ranking, and it probably is also encouragement for people to buy.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. All right. Okay, so Printful is taking about 25 days to print and ship t-shirts. Any help not to lose a customer? Communication right off the back. I want to say this is like a very tough time for a lot of businesses, right? And no one expected all this to happen. Right. But also there's good and there's bad. Right. And some businesses are going out of business. Some businesses are still in business. Okay. And some of the businesses are still trying to help, for example, with print on demand and trying to make sure the shipping times are on time. There is Shirtly. They have some really solid processing times. Okay. I'm not saying Printful's bad at all. Okay. They need some catching up to do, and they're overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and they're playing catch up. So that's never a good feeling. Me and Dee were talking about this too. It's like, it's never a good feeling to play catch up, right? So that is been like the go-to as of right now. I'll share that link right here in the comments. Let me grab it. It's over here, so I'll grab it right now. I'll share that link, and the Shirtly link. If you're not aware, it's in the Facebook group. You can go ahead and check that out too as well. But Shirtly has been pretty consistent, getting their they push their shipping times back to 3 to 5 days just to be safe on their end. But yeah, as far as that, that's just part of the game, guys.
It's true.
You can't. It's like, I feel bad in a way. I see people like kind of like bashing Printful, but it's part of the game. But at the end of the day, they're still there and they're still doing what they need to do, right, and getting their shirts out as fast as possible. So yeah, so Shirtly, I would say. So next question, Teresa. Next question. If I already have a niche apparel store, should I add printables to the Etsy shop or do a whole separate printable shop for that niche? Go ahead, Dee.
Honestly, I would just say add it to your existing Etsy shop and then link to it inside of some of the listings that it makes sense, right? So like if you have a shirt and you're like, oh, do you have kids? Do you want a printable? Here's the link on the description, and it will keep them in your shop longer, and then maybe like bundle it up. You know what I mean? Just like test it out. I don't think you need to set a whole other separate store just to do printables. I feel like it's a nice boost to a store that you already have running, that you're already getting sales from and customers in, right? So no sense in splitting them. Just like market those same or new printable products to that same audience.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Teresa said, great ideas. Thank you, Dee.
You're welcome.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, Ann.
There's Jay. Hello, my internet sucks. I have no audio, but you guys are frozen. I see.
Well, that's because his internet sucks. Get better internet, Jay.
Okay. Gordon, I'm interested in selling t-shirts on Etsy, but not sure how to handle returns. I've signed up with Shirtly and do fulfillment for me, but you can be profitable if you don't accept returns. So
absolutely,
yeah, that's part of the game. Okay. You don't focus on returns. You focus on sales. Never focus on returns. Never. It's like you don't focus on. It is the negative, right? In a way, so like, in your business, you don't focus on the negative.
Here's the legit. We don't even offer returns in our Etsy shops unless we have made a mistake. So like if somebody's ordered something incorrectly, so sad, too bad. Like, we'll give you a coupon code lots of times for like 30% off to order it in the right size or something like that. So you're not going to make profit off of that second order necessarily. But, you know, it's not our fault that people don't read. Unfortunately, that's the case. Now, I know that like when Etsy instituted that like negative review thing and people started freaking out about that, oh my goodness, I can only get 2 negative reviews and then I might be suspended or whatever. That became like a big deal. But the reality of the situation is, if you have all of your like information in your FAQs, you've got it on your listings, like returns are only accepted if we have made a mistake, like make sure you read the size charts, like all that kind of information inside of your descriptions, then basically most customers like are reasonable. They recognize they made a mistake, they entered in the wrong information, and they think, oh, this shop's doing me a solid by like giving me a discount to order that one shirt that I really want in the right size, right? So it's all about communication, and it's about how you talk to your customers about these kinds of things when they crop up. Truthfully, it shouldn't be happening on a really consistent basis if you've done your job right in terms of like putting up your size charts, putting the information in your descriptions and stuff like that. It's like maybe one every like 100 or 200 orders that somebody will order something wrong and then ask to return it, and then might get a little irate about your policies. But the truth is, if your policies are plastered essentially all over the page, there's like they ain't nobody to be mad at but themselves at that point, right?
Yeah.
So
I think, go ahead. No, I think one of the biggest things is like if you see someone complaining about like, oh yeah, I want to return this because I didn't know this didn't fit. Like, so obviously you want to make sure like the medium doesn't fit, right? So you want to make sure you have your sizing charts on your list, on your listing, right? It's important. If you see them complaining about something, like your thing is to like fix that. You don't want them to have an issue about like, you don't want them to have an issue with them complaining about something, because then you can fix it on your end. Let me say that all over. You want to fix it on your end, right? So if they have a sizing issue, you want to make sure you have the sizing charts in there. Like do not want no excuses for them to return something, okay? Because then you can be like, hey, it's right here on the listing. I'm sorry, I don't accept returns. But if you want to be nice, right, you can be, okay, I'll accept it. But then you can only do that so many times, right? You can only have so many nice times throughout the month, right?
Yeah, and honestly,
like stop it, RJ. No.
No, most of the times, like I don't. Like that's just the reality of the situation. And it's not because I'm a jerk or anything. It's just because I do put all of that information in listings. So it's like if you didn't bother to read the listings to make sure that the shirt was going to fit you properly, that's on you. It's not on me, right? And as a small shop, especially like people who are sometimes hand printing stuff in their own houses and stuff like that, like they don't have like this big corporate money to be like replacing things because people choose not to read, right? Mm-hmm. So like ultimately, I think it's kind of a depends answer in that situation. It's like if this person has been a good like customer in my shop before, like maybe they bought like a lot of things from us and this one shirt is a different brand or something like that, like obviously it's a different scenario, right? But if it's like literally this person's bought one time, they didn't bother to read the size charts, they come at me all hot and bothered and like they're rude, you know what? The policy's right there, right?
Be nice too.
Yeah.
Be nice. Be nice. Like if they get rude with you, just be nice to them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're mad. You know what I mean? Make them feel bad for being mad. So Human, appreciate you both so many nuggets in today's show.
Cool.
D, I'm one of these days, I'm going to introduce you to Human, and you're just love who he is. He's awesome. So awesome. Sweet. Thank you, Human. What's up, brother? Ganti, thank you, bro. Excellent information. Thank you for shifting the time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. All you have a good day. Good night.
You too, Ganti.
Teresa, what about the videos that shows you actually coloring one of the coloring pages that you are selling? How long can the video be? 15
I wouldn't make any video, honestly, that you're using on a listing, like probably longer than 10 or 15 seconds. Like I feel like, honestly, you have to captivate people, right? Like, in order to keep their attention for longer than that. So like, I wouldn't make it, like I'd say actually probably like a max of 30 seconds, but only if there's something really compelling for you to say or show them in that 30 seconds. So like if you were to do a time lapse of you like coloring in the page or whatever, that could literally be probably like a 20-second video. And there's like whole subreddits on Reddit that are like dedicated to these kinds of things. They call it, I think it's called oddly satisfying, like just watching people do things, like watching people paint things, watching people. So like if you were to start putting some of those things like in that subreddit, like you're going to get some attention from that video as well. So like if you're going to spend the time making those videos for your Etsy listings, also be thinking about where else you might put them in the marketplace or in the ecosystem of the internet that is going to get new eyes on your products and maybe going to get people through to your doors.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, so Russell, his first question. Thank you for asking, Russell. Would you suggest starting a Facebook page to feed your POD, Etsy, etc. products? Be consistent. The goal is being consistent. Okay, my girlfriend asked me this. She's like, "Well, what if we do this and do that?" And I was like, "I don't care what you do. You can do whatever. It's gonna bring us money in, and it's as long as you're consistent with it. That's how it's gonna bring us money in." So if you do that, be consistent with it, right? And that's the main thing. And that's the hardest thing too, because you have so much going on sometimes. It's like, dang it, I forgot to do this. I'll wait until tomorrow. The next thing you know, it's like a week later. And then I'm like, so much for being consistent. It just went out the window. Yeah. Do you want to add to that? Good.
That's good.
Okay, Darren. Hi guys. RJ, how would you decide on Etsy what niches to go into? So I would start with niches that interest you, right? That are fun for you, right? You don't want to be doing boring shit all the time. You want to do something that's fun, like you're doing every day. Like, for example, I've been playing video games, right? And I enjoy it, right? So I'll go into the gamers niche, and I know a saying, like, you know what I mean, that will make money because we've been saying it when we play with all my friends in there, right? So you want to learn your niche. You want to jump into a niche that interests you, right? You don't want to go into a boring niche, right? And you're like, I got to do this design for this. Like, no, I'm going to go into this niche and make a badass design that's going to sell and make me $100 a month. And then I'm going to rinse and repeat the process and do the same thing with 100 more designs. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question. I love your profile pic. Badass. Hopefully you're having a good day and have a good weekend. Patty, RJ, nice haircut. Did you do it yourself? No, my girlfriend did it for me. If I did it myself, maybe a little messed up, right? But she did it for me. She did a good job. Good job, Jocelyn. All right, so says I don't accept returns or cancellations. I make $1,000 per week on Etsy. Awesome. Leads. In Europe, we are required to give returns if they ask.
Absolutely. So you want to make sure that if you're selling from Europe, that is a legit rule, that you are following all of the policies that are required in Europe, including like VAT, making sure that it's clear that those charges I think maybe they have to be included if you're selling in Europe or whatever. Like, you just want to make sure you look through the Etsy seller handbook and you're following all the rules for selling in those other countries, including if you also have like a newsletter. You want to be obviously following the GDPR rules for like people signing up, how you're going to use their information, all of that transparency. So yeah.
Do they ban US outsiders?
No. That's just the answer. No.
Is it necessary for a store to be niche specific?
No, it's not. Like, there's general stores that are not niche specific. We just say that if you're going to start a general store, you just want to make sure that it makes sense. You just want, like, so for instance, you don't want to, like, a good example of this is a political store. We know if you're targeting the US, there's people on the right, there's people in the center, and there's people on the left. You don't want to blend all those things into one political store, right? Because like all those people don't really necessarily always like each other. Sometimes these are very divisive policies and very divisive things that belief systems that people have about like their chosen politics, right? So if you're going to go into something like that, naturally, like you're going to want to have 3 separate stores for each of those different things. You don't want to blend things that aren't going to work together is basically the idea.
Yeah. No, for sure. Okay. Yeah. Guys, also too, if you guys haven't checked out Ready Aim Scale, we have some free content right there for you guys. And also if you guys, we're going to call it right there. You go with that? Okay. Yeah. If you guys haven't checked out Ready Aim Scale, you get access to D. Okay. You can see how intelligent, how effing smart she is, right? You get Jay, he's more of like the smart, laid back, let me and D get pissed off at the world and like, okay, are you guys done yet? type of person. So you get Jay. Jay's awesome, man. He's a down to earth person. D is too. And then you get me. I'm all right. I could do I don't know what the heck. I'm just kidding. You get access to all 3 of us, right? So we get different perspectives, right? So we have a private, basically it's a private group, and then you get access to all the free resources that we provide to you guys. No, well, it's not free resources when you sign up, right? So you're paying for those. We do many monthly challenges, right? And then we're also in there just talking with other people too as well. And then also we have people in there that are crushing it in the private Slack community that we offer to you guys too. So there's a lot to offer. And also you get illustrations. We provide illustrations for you guys too in the back of Ready Aim Scale. There's a lot that we do. Okay. We're working on next month's mini challenge already because we're staying ahead of the game and we're providing content to help you guys make money. Right. So our goal is to make sure you guys make money and show you guys the fundamentals of the platforms that we provide to you guys. Right. So that's very important to us. And we thank you very much for watching us live today. Really appreciate it. And you guys have an awesome weekend. Have an awesome weekend. Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.